Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the channel, the World of Wrestling Podcast. Here today to discuss about AEW Dynamite, April 23rd, 2025 review. And after this past weekend Wrestlemania debacle, with the absence of The Rock not being there to help elevate and continue storylines the way they're supposed to, so they make sense, we had no Rock show up for WrestleMania. A WrestleMania main event ending that was weaker than a pile of diarrhea. And yeah, nobody liked it, including myself. I even came on here with a short video yesterday discussing that, how I thought it was underwhelming. And it did not help continue the storyline that was taking place. Apparently, The Rock said that, I don't need to be a part of it. Deuces, I'm out. You guys have fun. Like, what? So, we're here. It's Wednesday. You know what that means, as the old slogan goes. It's AEW's day to shine and show out for their main show attraction known as Dynamite. Did they help make things a little bit better dealing with the situation that occurred this past Sunday? Fuck no! Are you kidding? If our lives depended on AEW getting better, storyline progression, and everything else in between, I think we'd all fucking be screwed. This show sucked. It was boring. A lot of tag team wrestling going on, like Tony Khan's trying to dig into the old feeling back in the day when he booked every fucking match on the week-to-week televised show in tag team wrestling as if he was New Japan Pro Wrestling for all we know. My goodness, that shit was fucking aggravating to deal with on a week-to-week basis. Great wrestling, but what the fuck? There is other things outside of tag team wrestling. So we go from one extreme to the other. We have no tag team division with hardly any tag team wrestling. But tonight we decided, hey, let's have tag team wrestling out the fucking wazoo. Almost every fucking match was a tag team match. That's the first thing I noticed. One tag team match that I actually absolutely fucking enjoyed was the Young Bucks against Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight. That was an excellent match, and I would love to see Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight as tag team partners. I think they would make an amazing tag team. I think they would be awesome together, and I think they would bring some sort of legitimacy to this division. Because honestly, this division's fucking shit. And I know why the Young Bucks are back, simply because of the fact there is no fucking tag teams in this fucking division. So, of course, the Young Bucks need to come back. Not to mention, they probably missed the spotlight. They've been like a vampire drools over blood. They were drooling over fame, fortune, and validation of whatever validation they were looking for from the fans at this point. Because fans particularly don't give two flying shits if they're ever on television anymore or not. But the tag team division needs them, most definitely. FTR came out. They announced that they have Stokely Hathaway as their manager now. We now know where Stokely Hathaway has been after the outrageous storyline they had him in with Chris Statlander. Yes, Chris Statlander, who betrayed Willow Nightingale to be with Stokely Hathaway. And all of a sudden they dropped tides with each other with no explanation whatsoever. Now they got him with FTR. Why they got him with FTR? Who the fuck knows? But thank God Stokely Hathaway is actually on television again. I'd figure that anyone that's friends with CM Punk or has anything good to say to him, they get the fucking bench and sit there while they keep it nice and warm for the next group of people that decide to want to side with CM Punk over Tony Khan or mention anything positive for an ex-worker there, for whatever fucking crazy reason, because Tony Khan got a stick up his ass. But yes, Stokely Hathaway has joined FTR. He is their manager. He is the guy that's going to help them get straight to the top for the World Tag Team titles. Great. They also beat the shit out of the Midnight Express. So, great. I don't know. Or the Rock and Roll Express. Who the hell cares what express they are? But yes, they were humiliated on television. They haven't been seen on AEW television in years. And it's like as if time didn't fly by for them. It seems like they remain the same time. Maybe from years ago, from the last time we saw them, they went through a time machine, came into this time frame. Might be the case, and they may have been stated to be hidden away somewhere and no one could see them or find them or even give a shit if they exist. Like anyone really cares if they exist at this point. As long as they're breathing and they're healthy and they're well, that's all I care about. I don't wish any harm to anybody. At least when you don't annoy me. But even when I'm mad and I wish harmful things, I don't really mean them. I'm just pissed off. But I shouldn't even be saying those kinds of things even if I don't mean them. So, yeah. That's one of my flaws, guys. Anyway, let's get into this crap show that nobody fucking cared about, probably. I know I didn't. I spent most of my time just fucking flipping through my phone. Steve McMichael has passed away. Unfortunately, that was one of the things mentioned earlier in the show before the show actually officially started. So we open up the show at ringside with Tony Schiavone welcomes Master P to the ring. The founder of the No Limit brand comes to the ring, and we find out part of his purpose here tonight as he introduces the new AEW World Trios champions in the Ops. Make him say, "Ah, nah, nah, nah." Whatever. Anyway. The new champs make their way to the ring to a big pop before Samoa Joe repeats the old Master P catchphrase. He talks about there being no better place to celebrate than here in New Orleans. Yeah, New Orleans is going to get the third WrestleMania in less than 10 fucking years. Jesus Criminy. But the celebration is cut short by Jon Moxley's music playing, leading to the quick arrival of the Death Riders. They just about clear the ring, leaving Moxley with Joe as the AEW World Champion lays into the man who made him submit. Mox backs away and finds himself standing toe-to-toe with Master P, but not for long as Joe gets back on his feet to lock Mox in with the Coquilla clutch. The other Death Riders are still fighting at ringside as Master P says they want all the smoke before telling Joe to put Mox to sleep. This is brought to a halt when the Young Bucks and Okada run into the ring with chairs, stopping Joe and helping Mox up. The World Champion looks at the Bucks before Shibata brings him out of the ring, or Shafir, brings him out of the ring, and not a moment too soon as Swerve Strickland comes out to ringside. This forces the Young Bucks and Okada to take their leave before being confronted by Kenny Omega, forcing the trio to retreat through the crowd as the Ops, Omega, and Strickland stand tall in the middle of the ring. Joe grabs a microphone, giving some props to Omega before turning his attention to Jon Moxley to lay down the challenge for the AEW World Championship. It's mentioned later on in the show that these two fucking assholes are going to compete on spring break for May 14th's Dynamite in Chicago. I don't know, folks. Don't we have a AEW Double or Nothing pay-per-view on May 25th? 11 days after that? You're telling me we couldn't book Samoa Joe and Jon Moxley in a last stop showdown for Jon Moxley's AEW World Title that will inevitably be defended at the All In pay-per-view where Moxley loses the fucking title? Is anyone going to care or give a shit that Moxley retains the title once again and beats Samoa Joe, who's a former AEW World Champion? Will we care? Probably not, and they'll probably make the match shitty as fuck, as humanly possible as they can. Like they did with Swerve Strickland's match with Jon Moxley. Boy, oh boy, was that fucking crap. I think they deliberately are making these matches shit so that the final match that Jon Moxley has will all be celebrating and grateful for the fact that someone else like Will Ospreay or Hangman Page are the new world champions. At least one of them being world champion, I should say. Not world champions, but world champion. I mean, this is just fucking dumb as shit. You got a fucking... Are we getting the blood and guts match at Double or Nothing? If we're getting blood and guts at Double or Nothing, I'm okay with that. Then that's fine. That explains everything. It may look like that's the case. I hope we're having blood and guts at Double or Nothing. Fuck this Anarchy in the Arena bullshit. Can we just get the fucking gosh darn match at Double or Nothing for blood and guts? Can we finally get blood and guts on a fucking pay-per-view, for goodness sakes? I mean, let's get real here. Blood and Guts is a pay-per-view match style that shouldn't be aired for free. They should convince people to want to buy the pay-per-view, given the standards of what a Blood and Guts match is, which is a good, heartfelt storyline built around 5 individuals from each team having a grudge with one another and have a reason to be allies or partners with one another against the opposing team. That is what we should be looking at here. We have that right now. We have the Ops, we have Swerve Strickland, and we got Kenny Omega, who all have problems with the fucking Death Riders. And the Death Riders, I believe, have 5 guys. I think. Well, actually, the Death Riders do have the Young Bucks, so that gives them already 2. They only need 3 members from the group. So you just throw in Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, and Jon Moxley, and there's your 5 guys from that team. And voila, problem solved. If you want to get Wheeler Yuta off the fucking team and want to put Okada in there to give legitimacy towards the Okada versus Kenny Omega match, that we're going to probably more than likely build up to for a unification match at All In, we could do that too. Which Okada was there during the segment, so he has a legitimate reason to be in the Blood and Guts match. Let's hope it's Blood and Guts, and it's not a fucking Anarchy in the Arena. For them to save Blood and Guts later, after the pay-per-view, when it actually fucking matters. I don't want to see Anarchy in the Arena. I don't need to see that. That is just a 5-on-5 hardcore tornado tag schmoz match. I don't need to see that shit. I want to see war inside of a fucking cage. That's the point of war games. Have 5 guys on each team wanting to destroy their opposing opponents. That's what you fucking do in a situation like this. Young Bucks and Okada are allies to the Death Riders. You just throw Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli in there, and you got a fucking team right there. Hell of a fucking team. Then the same thing on the other side. You got Swerve Strickland, Samoa Joe, Will Hobbs. You got Shibata. And I'm trying to... Swerve Strickland... Hold on. Swerve Strickland. Kenny Omega. Samoa Joe. Fucking... Will Hobbs. And Shibata. There's your 5 guys right there. That's not a bad team. Shibata, I mean, it could be a better name in there, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. I think this is a match potential to be a blood and guts match to main event Double or Nothing on May 25th. If they go this direction, I think it will sell well. I think people will buy into it. People will be okay with it. People will be fine with this match taking place over another world title match that will probably be boring as fucking shit. Unfortunately, we're going to have to see the Death Riders and the Young Bucks together as a team winning the fucking match. Because that's what's going to happen. They're going to win and win this matchup in Blood and Guts if that's the direction they're going for the match type. Since we're not going to see a world title match taking place on the pay-per-view. So I'm okay with this. It's fine. But do we really need Samoa Joe getting a world title match? Is he going to change anything? No. Why do we need to book the fucking match in the first place? Makes no sense to me. Alright. So after that's over, the Ops take their leave from the ring as we cut backstage. Renee congratulates Nick Wayne on winning the Ring of Honor World Television Championship, but Christian Cage insists the congrats should go to him as he takes the belt from his prodigy. Nice teaching there, buddy. He starts to run Wayne down until Nick talks about this is what happens when you stick to the plan before walking off as we cut away. So we definitely are seeing Nick Wayne and Christian Cage going to eventually explode one another. When that's supposed to happen, I don't know. Back at ringside, Ricochet and Mark Briscoe are next to occur. This is the first match of the evening, Mark Briscoe versus Ricochet. Not a bad match, but Ricochet losing for the, third straight time? I mean, he's lost the number one contenders match for a world title opportunity. He lost the opportunity to win the international championship. And now he loses to Mark Briscoe. Mark Briscoe, a guy who couldn't buy a win in the tournament. He's losing to him. Makes sense, sure. If you're on fucking crack, it makes sense. Briscoe doesn't get to celebrate long as Ricochet leaves the ring for a chair, taking him down. Mark tries to fight back before Ricochet reveals a pair of scissors. Before he can use them, Kevin Knight runs down for the save. Ricochet retreats up the ramp as Knight gets in the ring to check on Briscoe, and we get a brief look at the Rock and Roll Express watching from the crowd before we head to a commercial break. Next, we come back to ringside. Tony Schiavone begins to welcome FTR to the ring, but it is interrupted by Stokely Hathaway, who instead introduces the living legends as FTR come down to the ring alongside Big Tracksuit Stoke. The trio enter the ring as Stokely talks about what happened. He takes the time to run down the crimes committed by people in AEW. Stokely promises he will have the suspension against FTR expunged from their permanent record and the fine reimbursed to them. Any questions for FTR will now go through their new agent, Stokely Hathaway. With that, Cash Wheeler takes the mic to talk about Daniel Garcia as the crowd boos louder and louder. Wheeler goes on to talk about Garcia asking them to stop the beatdown on 2.0 before talking about helping Daniel out when other vets left them high and dry. From now on, it's FTR first. Dax cuts in to bring up the legends in the building tonight, pointing out the Rock and Roll Express in the crowd. This brings legendary duo out to ringside as the nice reaction from the fans, New Orleans, much to the charging of FTR. Dax pays a level of respect to the Express before asking them what they think their best match was, only to cut them off, bringing up their matches against the Midnight Express, which they consider the better Express. They are asked about their age, only for Dax to make fun of them some more. When Dax starts to do this one more time, Ricky Morton calls for an end to this before Stoke reveals a brand new FTR shirt, tossing it at the Express as FTR attacks them. Former tag team champions start to lay into the Legends, looking for a spike pile driver before Paragon, which is the Undisputed Kingdom. Used to be Undisputed Kingdom. They used to be cool. They used to sound cool. And they were Undisputed Era. Undisputed Kingdom went level down. Now Paragon name? Sorry, you took even a step lower to anything worthy enough to be considered a faction name. That is pathetic. Whatever. Same members from the fucking Undisputed Era, just with a very lame-ass name. Pretty sad. Paragon comes running down to make the save. FTR, they were a little late to make the save, though, just to let you guys know. Pretty fucking late. I don't know what the hell they were doing backstage. Circle jerking each other before the situation occurred where one of them landed on their fucking neck. I don't know. Or spiked on their skull. Utterly ridiculous. FTR and Stokely Hathaway escape through the crowd as we go to a commercial break. Next, we had the Young Bucks, Matthew and Nick Jackson, going up against Speedball, Mike Bailey, and Kevin Knight. This was a fun match. I enjoyed this match. Young Bucks did unfortunately win, but it was fun nonetheless. Ricochet actually makes his escape up the ramp. He intervened in this matchup. As we cut backstage to hear from Toni Storm, who wishes the semifinalists of the Owen Hart Cup the best of luck before dressing her appearance at the TCM red carpet. Storm then issues an open challenge that is quickly answered by Queen Aminata for Collision on Saturday before the Timeless One leaves. Wow. Big fucking whoop-de-doo on that one. Back at ringside, we had the Hurt Syndicate. Yes, MJF still trying to get in the motherfucking Hurt Syndicate. Are you... Like, this shit is making me want to scratch my head to the point I bleed on the top of my skull. This is utterly fucking ridiculous. This man, MJF, is borrowing, and pleading with the Hurt Syndicate. He already got 2 out of the 3 begged. Now all he needs is one more, and that's Bobby Lashley, and he is not budging worth a continental shit. Throughout this entire promo, I was figuring maybe something will come out of MJF's mouth is giving Bobby Lashley some security, knowing full well what is the lines that he should not be crossing, things he should not do that will not disrespect the Hurt Syndicate so that their deal doesn't break and force them to become enemies. Intervening with their matches, causing them to lose the championships. Something of that kind of nature being addressed if they want to go into business with each other. This should have been the segment where we saw negotiation tactics made by MJF so that he can secure his spot with a Bobby Lashley to now officially be done with this beg, borrowing, and pleading bullshit that he's been doing for almost a month now. While Hangman Page is on his way to a world championship opportunity as long as he beats Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay in the next 2 matches that are coming up for him. Which actually is addressed in this show, nonetheless, which was absolutely funny as shit. MJF looks like a putz. Hangman Page may have a horrible haircut, but he's getting there quicker to the world title than MJF is doing. God almighty. The only thing that could hold Hangman Page back is himself losing a match during this tournament. That is the only way he could end up losing an opportunity to challenge for the world title quicker than MJF. And then winning it at All In, because whoever wins this tournament is winning the fucking title. If this fucking championship reign of Jon Moxley continues past All In, I'm done. There's no more following AEW. There's no more chances given to them. I don't care if they're even shit after All In. They better make the right decision, and either Will Ospreay or Hangman Page better be walking out of All In world champion, or on this channel, I ain't covering this shit anymore. I don't give a shit if they get better than they ever have before. I will not go back and watch this trash ever again. Will Ospreay, Hangman Page, whoever wins this fucking tournament, I don't even care if it's Kyle Fletcher of all people. They better be fucking winning the world title. Because this shit with Jon Moxley is old as fucking dirt. Okay? It is boring as shit. I can't even stand buying a fucking pay-per-view event and spending I went ahead and I paid my $50 towards my credit card today. Called up my bank account, called up my credit card company, paid the fucking $50 I paid it. I was sick to my stomach. I had to pay $50 fucking dollars to watch this event, giving it the benefit of the doubt to say Dynasty will be an okay show to watch. Even if Swerve Strickland loses, the show will be okay. The show fucking sucked all around. It was worse than Revolution. And Revolution's main event sucked. Revolution was a lot like WrestleMania Night 2. Good card overall, main event fucking sucked. And fucking Dynasty, well, that was Night 1. And the main event sucked compared to WrestleMania Night 1's main event. So, that's the one good thing that WWE has over AEW's pay-per-views. Between WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2. So, the main events of AEW's pay-per-views have been shit for the last 2 back-to-back pay-per-views. So, there's no winning for them when it comes to the main event department. They just plain fucking suck all around for that. Doesn't matter what they do. But this shit with MJF trying to get the Hurt Syndicate interested in having him part of the team. You would think he would have worked out negotiation tactics with Bobby Lashley to make him feel okay for having him part of the Hurt Syndicate. What does he do? He bribes Bobby Lashley with a fucking Corvette. A nice Corvette. I thought for a moment before I saw the back taillights on the car, or the front portion of the car, that it was actually possibly a Lamborghini, which probably would have gotten me to say, you're okay in my book, do whatever the fuck you want, just don't cross my hairs, and we'll be fine. You know, I'd have been like, fuck yeah, I'll take this, but a fucking Corvette? You're going to convince Bobby Lashley, who has more money than you could ever wish, this point in his career in wrestling. Bobby Lashley's a fucking veteran of the game. He's been in multiple promotions and has been world champion everywhere he's gone. Except for AEW, of course. But he won the tag team titles in the first 6 months. So go figure that one out. That's how much Tony Khan loves Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. He gave them tag team titles straight out of the gate and took Private Party and sunk them further into the fucking toy chest than you could ever imagine, where you'll never fucking find them, okay? So MJF bribes Bobby Lashley for an opportunity to be part of the Hurt Syndicate. By bribing Bobby Lashley with a fucking Corvette would get him to say, thumbs up, bud, you're in. No. Bobby Lashley could go out and buy a Corvette and own it outright with cash. Hard-earned cash. walk into a fucking car dealership and buy 3 of those motherfuckers without blinking a motherfucking eye, because the man's got money. And you're gonna offer him a fucking Corvette. Are you fucking serious? No, instead he got in the Corvette, took him and Shelton Benjamin off with it, and gave him a thumbs down. And MJF, like a bitch, stood there and let him drive off, instead of hunting him down and getting him the fuck out of the car. Technically, we saw Grand Theft Auto in its finest with Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. They have high taste in cars, let me put it to you that way. Here's something that makes utterly no fucking sense that I haven't pointed out yet. MVP took Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley last week outside, backstage, to talk with them about MJF. He said he was going to talk to MJF, work things out. I believe that was mentioned last week. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments down below if I am or not. But I do believe or remember MVP talking to Bobby Lashley and say, hey, let me just talk to MJF. Let's work all this out and let's get this together. I think we have something here. Shelton Benjamin was agreeing with MVP. He felt that he had the right mindset, what's going on here. And hey, if he gets out of line, we'll just do what we do best. We'll hurt him. What did we see tonight? Did we see a change of heart from Bobby Lashley? No! We saw him drive off with fucking Shelton Benjamin in a Corvette, giving him a thumbs down. And then Hangman Page shitting on MJF, and MJF doing his best possible MJF promo work he could possibly do, still could not save him out of this situation. It's that fucking terrible looking. It made MJF look like a fucking idiot. It's just my personal opinion. Let me know what you guys think. But I think it sucked. And he also apologized to Bobby Lashley, which is very unusual for MJF. He's really desperate to get into this damn Hurt Syndicate shit. Backstage, Hangman Page addresses Kyle Fletcher ahead of their Owen Hart Cup match before MJF enters the scene to poke fun of him. Page has a go at MJF for losing the car moments ago before running him down for trying to get in the Hurt Syndicate. Before MJF brings up they are 1-1 in singles competition, and next time they wrestle, MJF will take Seabiscuit out back and put him down. He then suggests that Page may make it to the finals of the Owen, but he will choke, walking off as Page says he's got something MJF can choke on before he too takes his leave. These fucking writers suck. Anyway. Yeah, so MJF looked good. MJF did not look good in this segment. Yeah, he sounded good at the end with talking about Hangman Page would end up choking in the end, which is possible. But I don't know, man. I really would like to see Hangman Page win this tournament. I would be fine with Will Ospreay winning the tournament and winning the world title. But if there's somebody out of this whole scenario that I'd like to see win, it's Hangman Page. He's got the better story. Will Ospreay is just the Tony Khan favorite toy that would be crowned as world champion. Will Ospreay does not have the best story coming out of this tournament. Will Ospreay has had nothing. He's had no adversity at all. Hangman Page has the adversity out the wazoo coming at him. You could have MJF get involved in this match, try to cost him the match. He ends up still winning anyway. He's got Jon Moxley's group, the Death Riders, that can get involved in this all-in match. that could try to fuck him over, and yet he overcomes all of that. He's had MJF front and center throughout this entire year, since the year started. And he's had adversity with him as well. Hangman Page is the perfect pick for a babyface of the group of this roster that has the most adversity and the best story going into this tournament. So why not go with Hangman Page? Why go somewhere else? Why book a match with Swerve Strickland and Hangman Page to tag team at All In? Why are we going to do that? Where does that make any fucking sense? What, because Hangman Page got what he wanted, apparently? Swerve Strickland could not win the World Championship? Like, what the fuck are we doing here? The story's right in front of you. Just fucking execute it. That's it. It's that easy. Just say, okay, that's a go. Hangman Page wins the whole tournament, wins the world title. That's the payoff. That's what we get. He becomes world champion before MJF does. MJF's looked like a fool. MJF then has adversity in front of him, and he works his way to become the next world champion. They could do that. Will they? Who the fuck knows? This company is so fucking pathetic. I don't know which is more shit. WWE or AEW. But I'm going to flip the coin and go with AEW. Because WWE has their moments here and there since Vince McMahon's been out of the picture of having good, entertaining storylines taking place. Like I said, Raw this past week was not bad. It was actually a good Raw after Mania type of deal. I thought was a good payoff. I think what they did with Randy Orton at the end of John Cena's promo was fantastic. We moved on quickly from the Cody Rhodes dilemma and on to something else that is a history of matches that have occurred over 10 plus years between these two. And for them to do it one last time in their old age, in their golden years, near the retirement time, I think is fucking fantastic. And it's not on a top tier pay-per-view event, so someone will finally get their kudos and their comeuppings to be able to face John Cena in a major pay-per-view event for a world title where it actually counts. Backlash, not so much. This is more where Randy Orton just, jobs out to John Cena in Randy Orton's hometown, making Randy Orton, or John Cena, to be a bigger prick than he already is. And that's pretty much what they're doing there. This show, man, there's no saving this fucking show except for Tony Khan. And Tony Khan doesn't seem to have a fucking care in the world to save this product. Not one. It's fucking pathetic. But whatever. Next, we had Will Ospreay and Brody King versus Takeshita and Josh Alexander. Well, Josh Alexander was the wild card in this tournament against Hangman Page. Of course, we had to have Josh Alexander get a revenge victory for his loss, don't we? Absolutely. And who has to eat the wonderful pinfall of this match? Why don't we just have Brody King eat it? Like he's the fucking Brooklyn Brawler. The jobber of AEW, Brody King. A guy that had a tag team partner, Buddy Matthews. Or Buddy Murphy. Buddy Matthews is not, no, Murphy was in WWE. Buddy Matthews and him, the Hounds of Hell, could have became the tag team champions, or at least been part of the tag team division and give it some legitimacy. But of course, we had to put Buddy Matthews in a fucking singles title match so he can lose to Takeshita. Or was it Kenny Omega? I'm not sure. I think it was Takeshita. Yeah, it was Takeshita. And he ends up losing in a good match, but ends up breaking his fucking ankle or doing something to it. And is now out of commission for whatever amount of months out of the year. So Brody King is just a punching bag for every singles competitor that needs a W. Like Josh Alexander needed one. Because he lost his debut match. Because they thought, hey, what would be a great idea to put one of our new stars in a matchup for his debut match? Oh, I got it. Let's put him in the Owen Hart Cup tournament and make it his debut match so he can fucking lose like a bunch of fucking idiots. Of course, that's what we're going to do. We're going to make him fucking lose. Because that makes perfect sense. And then we'll just use Brody King as the stepping stool and the way out for Josh Alexander to escape another loss and have him get a W, where Brody King actually needs a fucking win. This is sick. It really is. There's people that like Brody King. Do I care for Brody King? Absolutely not. I don't give a fuck about Brody King. But there's fans that do care about him. So the fans that do care about him should be getting the, they should be getting the recognition of acknowledging Brody King and giving him their respect. And unfortunately, he ain't getting it, and I think that's absolutely fucking ridiculous. Whether I like him or not, or care for him, this man should be getting fucking something. A mid-card rivalry, a fucking mid-card title, at least getting some wins under his belt where he's protected, looking like he's getting he ain't getting fucking shit. The only thing he's getting is a fucking royal kick in the ass. That's all Brody King's ending up doing here. This is fucking ridiculous. And he ends up taking the L. Whatever, man. Whatever makes you sleep at night. And Josh Alexander, guess what? Is the guy that gets the victory over Brody King. Can you believe that shit? Holy fuck. So, the Don Callis family isn't finished, however. They beat down King and Ospreay even further, leading to a big chokeslam by Lance Archer onto Ospreay as Kyle Fletcher comes down the ramp. This is quickly followed by the arrival of Hangman Page, but he is cut off by Trent Beretta and Rocky Romero? I must have missed that part. They bring him into the ring where, despite trying to fight back, Page is laid out by Don Callis' family before Fletcher connects with a brainbuster. We're reminded that the pair face off next week to find out who faces Ospreay in the finals of the Owen Hart Cup at Double or Nothing. But up next is their main event, where Chris Statlander takes on Jamie Hayter in the semi-finals of the Owen Hart Cup tournament. Do I really fucking care to watch this match in the main event? Fuck no, I didn't even barely watch this shit. Chris Statlander ended up losing to fucking Jamie Hager. Isn't that her name? Jamie Hager? Jamie Hayter. Hayter, yeah. Hayter. Yeah. She ends up winning the match. Not that I really gave a shit. I didn't barely pay attention to this fucking match. And, none of the storylines made it. Didn't progress anywhere. All we got is the Owen Hart tournament from the men and the women's side of things. We got Samoa Joe interested in another world title opportunity against Jon Moxley. He's a trios tag team champion, but wants more gold. Like, where does he got the right to challenge for the world championship? I don't see it, but hey, it is what it is, as they would say. Will Ospreay is losing a match with Brody King. While he's in the midst of getting towards Double or Nothing, he's taking an L with a loser. A jobber. He's losing. I mean, granted, he didn't take the L, but the pinfall in the match, but he still was part of the losing team. I really just don't know what to say. And you know what the sad part about wrestling is, guys, that I've noticed? You got the performers, you got hard workers there, you got, you got people, writers that give a shit, or maybe at least some of them give a shit, others could give a shit less, they just want the paycheck and run, which is definitely one of those type of writers that work in these companies. There's people that work real hard and want the company to grow from both companies I'm talking about, from WWE to AEW, and they just seem to do nothing. It's always the higher-ups holding everything back. Holds the fans from enjoying the product. It holds the performers from progressing and becoming bigger names than what they already are. I mean, and the stories are lackluster, lazy as shit. You're telling me you got days upon days upon days to sit down in a boardroom and at least come up with something that materializes into something that makes a storyline elevated to the crowd to get them excited to watch. You're telling me you can't get, at least week by week, something good within each and every storyline you're trying to tell. You're telling me you can't do that. I call bullshit. AEW sure as hell could do that if they really wanted to. What, Saturday Night Collision? What stories are being told there? Is there stories being told? Probably not. I don't know. I don't fucking watch Collision. I have more important things I'd like to do in my life. I like to watch UFC. I like to go out with my wife and go do fun shit. I mean, personally, my wife and I are going to St. Augustine this weekend to enjoy our fucking weekend off from work. That's what we're doing. We're going to have some fun and enjoy ourselves. Not sit at home and watch guys do gymnastics off of fucking ropes and have no stories going on in them. It's not even a SmackDown level type show. Collision. Collision might as well be Ring of Honor, which basically it is. So do me a favor and stick it up your ass. Like, who gives a fuck about Collision? But yes, AEW has one major show that mostly, is considered their A show. This show definitely did not display that they were the A show, because there was no fucking stories that occurred here except for maybe one or two. I'll give them 3. Let me just say 3 because of MJF and Hangman Page interaction. But in all honesty, there's no major big stories going on here. Yeah, minor ones being told. Okay, FTR, Stokely Hathaway, I'll give them that. But I'll say 4 stories were built on this show, with I think probably 13 segments. And this is all you got. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. Anyway, that's all I have to say at this time. This fucking show sucks. AEW blows. And if nobody beats Jon Moxley after All In, I'm fucking done with AEW. You can kiss AEW off my channel goodbye if they do not take the title off of Jon Moxley after All In. Alright, guys? So at this time, you know what to do. Hit the like button if you like this video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. And leave a comment down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that. Thank you guys very much for watching. Have a great night, guys. Bye.